Yo, what's going on? It's Maffu here, and this is my first video ever doing some commentary like this. I'm just gonna have gameplay in the background, and I'll be yapping about things that Rise of Kingdoms players always argue about. And we'll be starting off with Tier 5 early game versus playing effectively. What do I mean by that? A lot of players try to rush Tier 5, KVK 1, KVK 2, but is it more worth to put gems, speed ups into other things? And my first point is, people rush Tier 5 to be strong in KVK 1 and then spend the next 3 months begging for resources. Tier 5 are expensive, super expensive. They are strong, but they are expensive. And that got me wondering, in KVK 1, isn't it better to play max tech Tier 4 with multiple commanders than to be Tier 5? It's a lot cheaper in resources, and you'll probably be able to fight longer, and honestly, the trades won't be that different, because most players are Tier 4 anyways. You're not going to be playing against a lot of Tier 5s in KVK 1. Now, this is only for people who can't get the resources, but it also is a lot of speed ups to 5 March, and it is an interesting strategy to just play max tech Tier 4 and have cheaper resource costs. What do you guys think in the comments? Now, let's talk about infantry, cavalry, and archers. What is the best troop, and what should you guys pick? Now, obviously, on my main account, I am an infantry player, and I actually don't think infantry might be the best. I think cavs might be the best troop type in the game, just purely based on the commanders they have at the moment. Now, infantry, don't get me wrong, has some amazing commanders: BQ, Luce, Ragnar, Skippy. It has some really good pairings, but cav is just king right now with Arthur, Subutai, Attila. The best rally, the best open field march. They have a lot right now, and archers are just depressing. I think archers could be really interesting if they made them have low health but high damage, but not focused. Like, what do you think about them being actual ranged units for archers? Not like towers. You still have to move them around, you still have to micromanage them, but instead of them being right on top of someone, they get moved back like 1 square. You know what I mean? They give a picture the battlefield as a chessboard. The 2 pawns touching would be the ball fight, and the archers would be 1 square back, and the towers would be 1 square back. Would that be something they try in this game? I actually don't know. I heard that in Call of Dragons, they have ranged combat like that, so they could move in that direction. I will be playing archers on my restart account, so I guess I'll finally see how squishy they are. I've only ever played infantry, and I've never had an archer march, and I hear everybody talking about how squishy they are, how they get focused, so I guess we'll find out together. Now let's talk about farm accounts. Are they necessary or a chore? Now, I absolutely do think farm accounts are necessary, but they are becoming a full-time job. And I have to agree, it is a lot of effort to log into all my farms, even though I don't have that many. But some people have a lot of farms, and it gets to like hours and hours of time investment over the course of a week, and I feel like the game should somehow address that. Developers don't want their game to feel like a chore, and I feel like farm accounts is moving in that direction where you can't actually have fun in the game unless you have a ton of farms and invest a lot of time into them. So what do you guys think? Should they just make the hospital bills cheaper? They could make the hospital bills cheaper, or they could add more resources in the game, better nodes. I actually don't know how you would fix this without ruining something that's already been going on. I think maybe they should make it so if you have 1 farm account, you'd be able to get enough resources. 1 farm account seems okay per account. Having like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 farms just to play the game just seems very excessive. And you have to do that unless you want to get resources through other sources that aren't permitted through the game naturally, which a lot of players do anyways. Now, a little bit of a fun topic is, should you restart or stick with a single account? Now, this actually is an interesting point, because a lot of players enter Season of Conquest or the late game with bad accounts, and it's not necessarily their fault that their accounts are bad. It's more the fact that maybe they made a lot of mistakes in the early game. And I will say that a lot of people think that the early game is the most fun part of this game, because in Season of Conquest you start playing against really old accounts, and you're just gonna get wrecked over and over again for a while until you catch up a little bit. But in the early game, you're literally locked in playing against early game accounts, so you will get better trades, you'll have more fun. The only thing that is a little bit sad is you don't get to play with all the new commanders at the end of the game, which is a little bit, you know, they're cool commanders. But restarting does let you fix early game mistakes, try new strategies, play with better knowledge, so you have a little bit of a gap against the other players. Now, I did make a restart account and I have a main account, and there are some pros and cons for both. Obviously, I'm not getting any fighting on my main, which is why I made my restart account, which has a lot of fighting, but worse commanders. My troops are slow, my trades are worse, but it has been a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. If you've been watching the videos in the restart account, make sure you leave a like on this video. Now, another thing people were debating over is, should you rush to VIP 14 or should you push Castle 25? Now, this is actually very, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's very contested opinion, because I would say it's a mixed opinion, because people actually do go to 14 and people do go to Castle 25 and get max tech. Now, which one is better for the account? Now, max tech will give you better trades, obviously. You have a lot more stat points, probably like maybe close to 50% more stats. Not 50%, like 50% of stats more. But VIP 14 will give you another legendary sculpture per day, which is really good for the longevity of your account, because you want to be collecting those every day so you can upgrade your commanders later in the game. VIP 14 is a journey though. It is a lot of gems. What is it, like 750,000 gems? That's a ton, especially if you're not in a top spending alliance. So I can see why people would push the castle to have the, you know, the tech and have some fun with it. I'm very about short-term goals on my accounts usually, because I just want to have fun in this game, and pushing tech is the fun route. Pushing VIP is the longevity route. Now, what I'm going to be doing in my restart account is I'm actually not going to push to 14. I'm going to get to VIP 10 and then stop. And part of the reason is I don't plan to take this account into the late game. Now, if I do take it into the late game, then that means they released a good archer commander in the next commanders, but I actually want to just play on the account, and I'm going to push my gems. Maybe I can get max tech tier 4, maybe, if I put all my gems into castle, but I do need to unlock commanders with my gems as well, and gear. There's a lot of stuff that costs gems, and it's not going to be put into VIP after I get to 10, that is for sure. Now, the next point is actually barb chaining versus 5 marching. Now, chaining is smart, but it takes a lot of time. It's more efficient, and it's very important for restart, like free-to-play accounts. You do want to be chaining to keep up, but the thing is, it is miserable. And don't get me wrong, I've been chaining with Aether Flood, I've been chaining with Zhuge Liang. It's a lot easier with Circle AoE, but it still takes the same amount of time. Now, if you're 5 marching, it's faster, it's easier. You spend your AP, you can do that, log off, and you didn't really lose anything, but you didn't gain anything. When you're chaining, you actually gain more speed ups, more resources, more gems, and there's a very simple way to chain and it be efficient and not take a long time, and that is to do small chains, like 2 to 3 barbs. You get a march, you bring it over there, do 2 to 3 barbs with that march, and you just move it around until you run out of IP, and you're still getting the efficiency of chaining, but it's not a huge time investment, and that's what I usually do on my accounts. I do the small chains. Now, which KVK format is the best? And I've only played KVK 1, 2, and I'm about to enter 3, but I've already seen how 3 is going to play out, so I'm actually going to be able to answer this between KVK 1, 2, and 3, and I'll have to say KVK 1 is the best KVK. Now, I know a lot of people are KVK 2 fans. That may be a hot take. KVK 1 is the best, but hear me out. KVK 1, you get the past ruined fights. The past ruined fights are very fun, and in KVK 2 you don't get them anymore. Now, in KVK 2 Zone 5 is more fun, but you get farm killed and potentially locked in the corner if you mess up. So farm killing and potentially locked in the corner. KVK 1, there's no fights in Zone 5. KVK 1 Zone 6, there's a lot of fighting, and they can't invade your Zone 5. That's very important. They can't invade your Zone 5, so you're still safe to farm in there and fight in Kingsland. Now, KVK 2 Zone 6 has a lot of fighting, don't get me wrong, but they can enter Zone 5. There's no Kingsland in KVK 2. They enter your Zone 5, they lock you out. And then KVK 1, there's Kingsland. KVK 2, there's no Kingsland. KVK 1 Kingsland is actually pretty good. They all enter from the sides, and it can be a lot of fun. KVK 2, no Kingsland. It's boring. You just enter Kingsland, you farm. Hot take, KVK 1's better. Better map, better format than KVK 2. Now, KVK 2 might have slightly more fighting, maybe. My KVK 1 had a ton of fighting, including Ruins, Zone 6, and Kingsland. It was days and days of fighting, and it was a lot of fun. I'm super excited to play KVK 1 on my restart again. And oh yeah, another thing about KVK 2, there's a lot of betrayals in KVK 2. There's some betrayals in KVK 1 obviously, but KVK 2, I feel like every KVK has at least one betrayal. It is absolutely insane. Let me know which side you're on in the comments, and I hope you guys enjoyed this different style of video. This is my first time doing a video like this, and let me know if you want to see more. Like and subscribe. Peace.